Until recently, I was rather skeptical of playing D&D online since I do prefer to sit at the table and use the bazillion of dice I bulked over the last couple of years. But since it became increasingly more difficult to actually schedule RPG sessions with my offline friends, I decided to give it a shot. A friend of mine, Kichi, just started a new group and it sounded pretty neat. The idea was to have a big pool of players that are part of an adventure guild, the Platinum Scouts. Every session is a one-shot and the party consists of whoever is available on any given day. There's a pool of about 15 players that get split into 3 groups. I actually really appreciate the concept. The pool is small enough that you get to know everyone, but big enough that you have a decent amount of variety between every session. Maybe you go on an adventure with the 2 bards, or maybe you're stuck with the 2 paladins and the cleric when you are playing a rogue. I am playing a kobold rogue named Ido, by the way. This leads to a lot of cool character interactions. Your character may get along better with some characters and others, and this way you get a pretty interesting web of relationships. It's quite fun. Adding to that is that our DM makes it so that the actions of one party may affect the game of a different party. So it all feels connected and I actually enjoy keeping up with what everyone is up to. The first 2 sessions I played were pretty standard. The first mission was to get rid of some mushrooms in some old man's basement, only to discover that they were a byproduct of Dexter, from Dexter's lab, cooking drugs down there. And the second mission was named Goblins There, and that's what we did. We slayed goblins. A lot of them. Now, something I learned the hard way during the second session is that it doesn't matter how good you are at removing traps if you can't find them. I ran into like 4 of them and everyone keeps making fun of me because of that. Stop knocking me board! Kobolds have feelings too. But then the leader of the goblin appeared, some Oni samurai wielding a katana, which I looted alongside some magical dust. And since then, I am the edgy anime kobold that cuts people with a katana that is as big as he is. Good thing that our DM ruled that it is just using rapier stats. Anyway, keep that one in mind. Now the first session is where things got interesting. This time I was paired up with Mel, a ranger with daddy and demon issues, Sarek, a very shy dragonborn wizard, and Liu Lang of the East, a righteous monk that serves the sun god Pelor. One thing I should mention is that our DM provides us with a selection of quests and we have to choose which one we want to play before every session. Sarek really wanted us to pick the one regarding a long lost library because he is a wizard and thinks he can find some magic spells down there. And before the session even started I was constantly reminded that Mel's went through a lot of shit in her first 2 sessions. In particular, she went on an adventure with 2 rogues that accidentally fucked up. Oh, and she was forced into making a pact with an ice devil. So basically, everyone was telling me to go easy on her and not to do any rogue business that could get us into trouble. In addition, this was an escort quest. We were accompanied by our quest giver, a mute wizard girl named Venria. Since Zarek was the only one who could understand her sign language, I of course did what every good kobold would do: play matchmaker. Hey, you're both wizards, you should totally hook up! I wasn't really good at it. Anyway, the library was supposedly hidden in some mines at the other end of the country, so it took a couple of days to get there. There were a couple of interesting things that happened on the road, but they are not really relevant to this video, so I will just skip over them for now. We arrived at the mines and it was your typical dungeon crawl. Most notable thing that happened was that Sarek was one-shotted by a swarm of spiders. Not the first time that happened, by the way, but we made it through until we arrived at the entrance to the hidden library, which was locked and we had to solve a puzzle that required knowledge about the D&D pantheon. And here's where things got messy. You see, both Mel and Zarek were pretty new to D&D and don't know that much about the lore. Frankly, me neither, because I played other RPGs instead of D&D most of the time, but I picked up some basic knowledge over the years. Now, I actually guessed the answer rather quickly, but...
Hey, Tricky, are you proficient in religion?
No.
What's your intelligence score?
I have a 9.
Yeah, you have no idea what this is about.
So whatever I figured out, I couldn't tell anyone. So to make things short, we spent way too long to solve what was supposed to be a pretty easy puzzle. Now you might think, hey, what about Liu Lang? You said he is serving Pelor, so he probably should have figured that one out in an instant. Well, yes, he probably would have solved that in an instant, I'm sure of it. The problem is something came up and his player had to go. His character was still there, now controlled by the DM, but of course Kichi couldn't just have him solve the puzzle for us now. Anyway, eventually we managed to solve the puzzle and entered the long lost library, and we couldn't wait to find out what knowledge it holds. We stepped into it and were greeted by a giant fucking bird that protects that library. Say Kichi, did you watch Avatar lately? Cause that bird really reminds me a lot of Wan Chi Tong.
I have no idea what you're talking about. He's an eagle and his name is Shaw, so totally different.
Well, anyway, we were all pretty sure that Shaw would probably eat us for breakfast if we were to try something funny. The good thing was, he wasn't hostile. He was just the guardian of the library and welcomed us cheerfully. Probably rather happy since we were the first mortals that stepped into this library in decades, and he told us that we could stay as long as we wanted to, but we weren't allowed to take anything with us, to the disappointment of Sarek. And as if that wasn't disappointing enough, we quickly learned that basically everything in that library was Pelor related. Stories about the god appearing in front of mortals, legends surrounding heroes chosen by him, and a lot of religious scriptures, you get the idea. Certainly an impressive collection, and interesting for some historians, but certainly not what a wizard wanted. Who again was the main reason we took this mission in the first place. You designed this mission for the Pelor monk, didn't you?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
We then found a secret chamber where we challenged a giant robot to a fight and we were rewarded with magical monk weapons.
Okay, maybe I designed this mission for the Pelor monk.
We also found the study of the man who originally built that library, and it contained some actual useful stuff for the rest of us. Most notably some spell scrolls for the wizard and an orb of scrying. Not really anything interesting for me, but there were also some very valuable spell materials, like 2 crystal grails that were worth about 1000 gold each. So my greedy little kobold was very interested in acquiring them. But there were a few problems. We had to get past that giant bird, which told us not to steal anything, and we all knew that we wouldn't stand a chance in direct combat. And I got this not so subtle warning all evening not to fuck everything up by doing some rogue shit. So I thought it might be better not to take anything, because for all his flaws, Ido's in the end loyal to his friends. Until... Guys, I can use this orb of scrying to find my dad, and maybe it can also help me to get the demon out of my head. Oh boy, these spell scrolls are amazing. Let's steal it! Okay, fuck it, let's do it.
You really want to steal it? Are you sure about that? You can't really sneak past the eagle, just saying.
Actually, there is, we just have to use this.
The dust of disappearance you found in the goblin lair last session? You know, even if you turn yourself invisible, Shaw will notice that one person is missing.
Actually, dust of disappearance sends everyone in the 10-foot area invisible.
Wait, really? Oh shit, you're right. Carry on.
No, there was still a problem with that plan. Dust of disappearance only lasts a couple of minutes, and it would take slightly longer than it lasts to get from the study with all the treasures to the exit. So we decided to use the dust as a backup plan and try to smuggle the stolen items out in our backpacks. So we went to the exit trying to look inconspicuous.
Oh, are you guys leaving already? You aren't trying to steal anything, are you?
No.
I will murder you.
Now, the original idea was that I would try to talk with Shaw should he notice that something is off, since I had the highest score in deception, but Zarek answered before I could and failed the check. We had a bit of a debate if I simply took too long to answer or if Zarek didn't give me any opportunity to say anything, but truth is it didn't really matter because at the end of the day my deception score was only slightly higher than Zarek's and it was simply a bad roll. If I had rolled the same, it would have played out exactly like that. So we rolled initiative. Of course, Shaw went first and attacked us before we could use the dust. And he knocked me out with one clean hit. Luckily, I had the dust of disappearance ready with me, so the next person was able to simply take the dust and use it and patch me up with a healing potion. Since Shaw couldn't see us, he could only guess where we were and all his attacks had disadvantage. He managed to hit 1 or 2 of us, but we made it to the exit and locked it behind us. Not that this really mattered, because the gate was too small for Shaw anyway. Yet we knew that there was a second exit only a flying creature could use, but it was on the other side of the mountain range, so we were safe for the time being.
I can't believe that worked.
I'm a level 3 rogue with 2000 gold now. What should I do with that money? I know, I buy a flaming katana! Now we all knew that Shaw would probably try to hunt us down and punish us for the theft, but that's future Ido's problem. So basically we managed to steal some treasure that we weren't supposed to steal and survive an encounter with a monster way above our challenge range, all because I just so happened to have some magic dust with me the DM forgot about. And chances are that there were like 5 better solutions for that situation, like just trying to reason with the bird. But this way we got everything we wanted and an angry bird that wants to kill us in the future. Oh yeah, and then there's of course Liu Lang, who was there the entire time but didn't actually say anything because his player wasn't there. So it was rather funny when we told him what happened. So, as it turned out, library was devoted to Pelor and we stole some treasure and now its guardian bird wants to kill us all.
Sly as a fox, you got me under your spell. But you know I'll never tell that I know you know so